It seems like every time someone speaks with a little common sense, the media doesn't know what to do with itself. And Karoline Leavitt is proving just that. As the new press secretary for Donald Trump, she's not just answering questions. She's flipping the usual script and calling out the tired stories we've all heard 100 times. From day one, Karoline has shown she's not here to play along with the usual media spin. When reporters try to push their go-to talking points, she doesn't back down or dodge. She responds with direct, clear facts that stop them in their tracks. There's no hesitation, no sugarcoating, just straight talk that makes a real impact. Today, we're taking a closer look at some of her most powerful moments so far. If you've been feeling like the news has become too scripted or one-sided, Karoline's sharp responses and no-nonsense approach might just be a breath of fresh air. Stick around. You're not going to want to miss these standout moments.
Which White House official made the decision to bar the AP reporter from the Oval Office and the diplomatic reception room last night?
Well, first of all, let me just set the record straight. It is a privilege to cover this White House. It's a privilege to be the White House press secretary. And nobody has the right to go into the Oval Office and ask the President of the United States questions. That's an invitation that is given. And there are hundreds of outlets on this campus, many of you in this room who don't have the privilege of being part of that pool every single day and getting to ask the President questions. We reserve the right to decide who gets to go into the Oval Office, and you all have credentials to be here, including the Associated Press, who is in this briefing room today.
Things really heated up when the Associated Press made headlines of its own, not for reporting the news, but for refusing to call the Gulf of America by its new name. Instead, they stuck with the old label, the Gulf of Mexico. Why? Their reason was that it's been called that for over 400 years, and international organizations haven't officially approved a name change yet. It's the kind of move that makes you wonder how flexible independent journalism really is. Rather than acknowledging what many Americans now call it, they dug in their heels and refused to budge. It felt less like reporting and more like resisting change for the sake of tradition. But the situation didn't stop there. Just as tensions were rising, a CNN reporter threw gasoline on the fire with a surprise question that caught everyone off guard. It was one of those moments that shifts the mood in the room, the kind where you can practically feel the temperature rise. The stage was set for another showdown, and Karoline Leavitt didn't miss a beat. She stepped up, answered without hesitation, and turned the conversation around, again proving she's not afraid to push back when the media crosses the line.
Front in my briefing on day one, that if we feel that there are lies being pushed by outlets in this room, we are going to hold those lies accountable. And it is a fact that the body of water off the coast of Louisiana is called the Gulf of America. And I'm not sure why news outlets don't want to call it that, but that is what it is. The Secretary of Interior has made that the official designation in the geographical identification name server, and Apple has recognized that, Google has recognized that, pretty much every other outlet in this room has recognized that body of water as the Gulf of America, and it's very important to this administration that we get that right, not just for people here at home, but also for the rest of the world.
This kind of common-sense approach is exactly why illegal border crossings have dropped dramatically by 90% since Donald Trump returned to office. Don't just take our word for it. Even the New York Post has reported on it. But if you're waiting for the mainstream media to give him or his administration any credit, don't hold your breath. It's amazing how quickly things change when a leader makes it clear that the law actually means something, and that illegal entry won't be overlooked. What was once a flood of border crossings has slowed to a trickle, and that's no accident. It's the result of real action and real enforcement. And Karoline Leavitt isn't just taking the media to task. She's calling out the left, too. During the recent uproar over so-called anti-dog protests, she didn't hold back. She went after the political grandstanding with full force, pointing out how exaggerated and out of touch some of these performances have become. She's making it clear, if you're pushing drama instead of facts, you're going to get called out.
The 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office. Can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are.
You made a point of going with the worst first. They all have a criminal record?
And welcome to the briefing
If they broke our nation's laws, yes, they are criminal.
You saw it. And it was something else. The outbursts from left-leaning lawmakers were completely over the top. Let's be honest. If anyone on the right had said even half of what they did, there'd be non-stop outrage and calls for severe punishment. The double standards are hard to ignore, and frankly, a lot of people are fed up with it. What made it even more bizarre was how many of them completely ignored the real issue at hand. Instead of addressing the actual waste or policy concerns, they were fixated on Elon Musk and Dogecoin, as if that somehow mattered more than the facts on the ground. But then came the real shocker. Karoline Leavitt turned her attention to Politico, and what she revealed took everyone by surprise. She exposed details that most of the press had either missed or purposely left out, and it quickly became clear that the story was much bigger than anyone expected. She didn't just make a point, she made waves.
And may I just point out, if you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because President Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people to make this government more efficient. He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers. That's all that is happening here, and for Democrat officials to incite violence and encourage Americans to take to the streets is incredibly alarming, and they should be held accountable for that rhetoric.
Let's clear things up. No, Politico didn't take a direct $8.2 million check from the government, but that money did come through subscriptions to their high-priced Pro plan, a premium service that offers policy coverage and insider analysis. While not every dollar came from USAID, the funding was spread across several federal agencies. Politico tried to get ahead of the story with a carefully worded statement. We have never received any government funding, no subsidies, no grants, no handouts. Technically, that might be true. But let's be real. That's still taxpayer money making its way into their accounts. Just because it came through subscriptions doesn't mean it's not public money. And these subscriptions aren't cheap. Some reports say a single Pro subscription can cost anywhere from $122 to a jaw-dropping $15,000 per year. Do the math. How many government offices had to buy in to push the total over $8 million? That's not a small number, and it raises some serious questions. And just when things couldn't get more chaotic, Karoline Leavitt stepped up again. Calm, sharp.
Upon coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The Doge team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's book.
Karoline Leavitt's impact isn't limited to the press room, it goes far beyond that. She wrapped up her very first press briefing with a sharp, no-nonsense message, and she didn't miss the chance to aim a few well-placed remarks at President Joe Biden. The energy in the room shifted instantly. It wasn't just a closing statement, it was a statement of intent. It was bold, direct, and left no doubt about where she stands. And honestly, it was electrifying to watch. From that moment on, it was clear. Karoline isn't just here to answer questions. She's here to lead the conversation.
Taking a common sense
The
approach.
president said he will work on extending the Abraham Accords. Mr. Whitcomb, the president said he wants to...
Yeah, thank you. Can you direct traffic? Yeah, thanks.
Let's act like adults here. They are generously offering their time to answer your questions. You don't need to scream at them like a bunch of school children. Ouija, go ahead.
Thank you very much.
And that, folks, is how you take on the mainstream media with confidence, facts, and zero hesitation. Now it's your turn. Which of these moments stood out the most to you? Let us know in the comments. We want to hear what you think. And if you know someone who needs to see Karoline's masterclass in action, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with them. They'll thank you for it.
It is a good question, April. So look, the president, as you know, is incredibly accessible. First day here, he wanted all of you in the Oval Office. You got a 60-minute press conference with the leader of the free world while he was simultaneously signing executive orders. I may add, that's pretty impressive. I don't think the previous office holder would be able to pull such a thing off. So look, the president is the best spokesperson that this White House has, and I can assure you that you will be hearing from both him and me as much as possible.